Coming to you live from another season break. Join us for a few more weeks or months as we explore all things Rick and Morty, the good, the bad, the high, the low, the every which way you can go, here on Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast.
Ho, here we go again. Hi, everybody. I'm Travis.
Hey, everybody, and I am Brandon, and welcome to the show.
Welcome to what is an unforeseen amount of time where we attempt to fill the gaps in your seasons with that sounded dirty, trying to fill the gaps in your seasons with
Joke.
whatever content we can come up with. Yes, that's right. This is Interdimensional RSS, the show that is has more episodes in off seasons than it does regular seasons. But yeah, we're excited to talk about some Rick and Morty. We've got a few things to talk about, and I don't know. How long has it been, Brandon? It feels like forever since we did one of these episodes.
Yeah, it has been mid December. Was that?
Yeah, we're creeping up on nearly a month. So thank you to those of you who are following on social media. Hopefully you had a great holiday break, and now we're back to talk about the stuff that we talked about the last 5 episodes. But if you're new to the show, if you're just catching us for the first time, and you want to follow us everywhere on the internet, there are plenty of places you can do that. You can follow on Reddit, reddit.com/r/RickandMortyPodcast, or you can go to rickandmorty.reddit.com. That's the official Rick and Morty subreddit. Twitter.com/RickandMortyPod. You can follow us on our website, rickandmortypod.com, facebook.com/rickandmortypodcast, and you can send us an email at rickandmortypodcast@gmail.com. Here's a little spoiler for you. We got an email in the last week. We got 2 emails from the same person. But we'll talk about those later in listener suggestions and short outs. We are also streaming live to your eye holes on YouTube at youtube.com/apatheticenthusiasm and on Twitch at twitch.tv/apatheticenthusiasm. Make sure to subscribe there if you want to see the video versions of these podcasts. Occasionally we reference something visual. This episode, I think we'll be doing that as well, so make sure to check them out. Finally, you can get merch, curated fan art on t-shirts over at tpublic.com/stores/interdimensional-RSS. Just go to apatheticenthusiasm.com/shop. And our Patreon, patreon.com/rickandmortypod, is a place where you can financially support the show if you're independently wealthy and a philanthropist and want to support independent podcasters like us. And that is how you follow us. All right, Brandon, before we jump into all of the structure, all of the the same old, how you doing, man? How you been?
I have been great. I will be forthcoming when I say when it is so long in between podcasting sessions, I come back. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready to come back yet.
Should we have done stretches? Should we have gotten limber before we do this?
I did some planks in preparation.
That's a weird flex, Brandon.
that's my new podcast prep is planks. Like Rick and Morty. Here we go. 10 rounds of planks, 20 seconds each. Whenever we do apathetic enthusiasm, I'm gonna do ab workouts, do some dead bug lifts and
some burpees. Do you like doing burpees?
Yeah. How about you? You doing all right?
I'm doing good. I'm just living my best life in the frozen tundra that is the Midwest, and just trying to stay warm. Just trying to stay warm and not freeze and dream of warmer weather. So yeah, I enjoyed a break. I enjoyed some time off, but I gotta say, I think I missed it. When we're not podcasting regularly, I feel like there's something missing in my life. I'm out of rhythm, So it's good to be back. It's good to
the circadian rhythm of podcasting.
Yeah, we gotta We got to do this more often so we can get our cycles coordinated. That's what we do on our podcast cycles.
You and I, we need to get our podcast cycles synced.
Exactly. And with that in mind, let's get into our feeble attempts at semi-pertinent news.
Dun, dun, ding, da, dum, bak, ding, 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 dum, ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 the semi-pertinent news.
You
If you
got
ever
to get into that Foley work, man. You
if you
got to
ever
do it.
if you ever listen to Cake, or if you ever seen Cake play live in anything, the lead singer, I don't know his name, I feel bad. He has whatever instrument that is, where you hit it and it goes. You can
It's
hear it.
like the rigid metal thing
Yeah,
with like a
yeah,
wooden block or something.
yeah. You can hear it in most Cake songs, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so yeah, this is our podcast dedicated to the alternative rock group Cake.
At first,
I guess
I
they're
was
alt. Are they
afraid.
alt rock?
I
Is that
was petrified.
one of the greatest moments in my life? Is an impromptu version of "Going the Distance." I think is that what it's
Oh,
called.
yeah.
With coworkers at Starbucks. It was I don't know. It was great. It was me and the guy were back to back and both drummed out that beat at the same time. It was serendipitous. Anyway, semi-pertinent news. Here we are. We're going to talk about anything in these episodes, you guys. Content is content. So season 4 episodes, you know them, you love them, you watched all 5 of them so far, but maybe, just maybe, you're not a sucker. You're not a person that gives your money to the man, and you have found alternative means to watch season 4 episodes. But fear not, if for some reason you've missed one, you can now head over to adultswim.com/streams and watch all 5 of the first season 4 episodes without a login, so you don't have to link your cable provider to check out those episodes. Maybe you watched on a questionable streaming service via some, I don't know, third party. Maybe the quality was subpar. Nah, now you can watch it
No more.
with ads baked right in.
No longer. You watch it how God intended on adultswim.com with advertisements.
Exactly. And all those great Adult Swim bumps where they talk about watching their streams while there's a stream running in the background. I don't know. It's weird.
I'm glad you have this on there, because I need to go back to the Reddit threads and update that and put those as a place to watch these episodes, because during the season, everybody is, especially when the episodes first come out, like, oh, where can I watch this, where can I watch this? And more often than not, not the mods, but people in the mods are like, well, DM me for a link or whatever, or you can go on Facebook.
Yeah.
So many people on Facebook are just putting their Facebook live, watching it on repeat. And Facebook doesn't care about anything. They're like, yeah,
That's right.
whatever you put
They'll
on there, it's fine.
they'll let
we'll make
evil Morty be president. They'll help support the election. They don't care. They'll do whatever they want.
topical.
Topical. Anyway.
Speaking of topical, that's not actually a segue for that. One of these things that they came out in the last month and a half that I think is really really interesting, and that I want to buy it, but I don't want to buy it before. Well, I'll probably still buy it, but don't want to look at the contents before we get a handle on it or get to try this out. Is the Rick and Morty D&D kit that is officially out now. You picked it up at Target, I'm assuming, or wherever.
I got it at my local
Target.
gaming store, Amazon.com. And
Oh.
I wish I had gone to a local gaming store, but I did in fact get it on Amazon. But yeah, I picked up the Dungeons and Dragons versus Rick and Morty tabletop role playing game adventure. It's a little box set for your D&D needs. This is we've kind of talked a lot about this in semi pertinent news over the last several episodes, but yeah, I picked this up. I'm happy to say it is a fine looking kit. If you are interested in Dungeons and Dragons, maybe you've never played and you love Rick and Morty, I think this is a great way to sort of bring those worlds together. Try D&D in a way that is not. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
So just quickly, I want to go over a few of the things that are in the box here. Obviously, you got to have dice when you're playing D&D. So these are the dice that come in it. They are sort of yellow, greenish yellow with blue numbers. Very much on brand for Rick and Morty. But there's a ton of dice in here. There's a D4, 4 D6s, and then a couple D20s and everything in between there.
Oh,
So,
fancy.
yeah, fancy. Then you get this sweet DM. What do you call this?
DM screen.
DM screen, and it's
That seems like a fairly small DM screen, doesn't it?
it's not super tall, but it's the same. It's about the same size as the one that I got in the Essentials kit that D&D released a couple of months ago. But pretty cool artwork. It looks like an original piece of artwork with the different D&D characters played by Summer and Morty, Rick. I don't think there's a Jerry one in here. Oh yeah, no, there's a Jerry and a Beth, and then some random dude. I don't remember this guy at all. Do you remember him?
I don't remember that guy.
But that is a nice transition into the 5 character sheets that you get in the set. So these are all of the characters from the comics.
Nice.
Minus a Rick character. So you have Beth's cleric, you have Summer's fighter, Jerry's wizard, Morty plays a rogue, and then Meatface, who is another fighter. That's that big old dude on the DM screen. And then
I have extra cover sheet or character sheets here.
Oh, you have extra ones from the comic covers?
Wizard Rick and Wizard Fighter Rick. Just throwing that out there, for variations when we run them.
Yeah. And then the last two pieces is a Rick and Morty rule book that looks like it's written on graph paper or something, or at least the cover does. And then for the DM in your party, the actual adventure itself, The Lost Dungeons of Rickedness, Big Rick Energy. What I will say about both of these publications is they are written like Rick wrote them. The adventure especially has a tone and a level of sarcasm and a level of just not giving a crap that very much goes with Rick and Morty. So it doesn't focus too much on things that Rick wouldn't care about, and it dials right in on the things that Rick would maybe find interesting. And then there are a ton in the rule book itself. There are tons of little boxed advice, and there's a ton of artwork in here from like the Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons comics, but lots of funny little bits that you could look through a conventional D&D rule book to understand how to play, or you could have a few more laughs looking through this one. So lots of cool stuff in there. I'm very excited to play this. I'm very excited to find people to play this with.
Yeah.
So hopefully very soon we can put a party together and run through this big Rick energy.
Like this, put them like together, like fingers crossed, and then threaded together in harmony or dissonance, whichever, or melody, like melody and harmony go. Yeah, that's I look forward to it as well. And because you bought it and you got the DM stuff, you can go walk us through since I'm balls deep in my own
Yeah,
DMing.
you're DMing your own thing, and frankly, I miss DMing a little bit. So I'm excited to do it. But yeah, if you have picked up the box set yourself, or you've run through it and have any suggestions, any advice, or just a review of the set, I'd love to hear about that. You can hit us up on Twitter or send us an email. But yeah, it's and if this is something you like really want to hear, if you want to hear us play through this, let us know that as well, because I'm really trying to convince Rick. I'm trying to convince Brandon
What is
to put this together and record the whole thing and chop it up, which means a lot of editing work for him. So so
Yeah,
so so let us know if you want to see it / hear it, and we'll try to put that together.
we'll do
Uh,
do it again. Yeah.
Moving on. So
Yes,
so this wasn't really a gift, like a Christmas / Rickmas gift. It was sort of something I bought after the fact, but as is tradition, often we receive Rick and Morty themed gifts for Christmas. Did you pick up any cool new swag over the holidays?
I did. I picked up a couple new pieces of swag. This shirt I'm wearing right now, it says Rick and Morty on it, and there's a picture of a spaceship. There, Rick's
Oh.
spaceship. And I just want you to know that I got this from my mom, and my mom got it from Kohl's. Uh, but she got me a different shirt from Kohl's originally, which is a medium, and and I am getting to the point in my life where I'm now too small or now too big for mediums. So we took that shirt back, and what that shirt was them walking away from an explosion. Took the shirt back, looked for that same one, and my mom's like, I want to find this one. I'll keep going back to Kohl's till I find it." And I'm like, "No, no, this good. This one is good." Like, "No, no, I come back. I keep coming back." My mom is now just every time she goes to Kohl's, she's seeing if they
Just
restock.
never-ending hunt for the specific Rick shirt that.
Yeah. My younger brother Brett, he bought me we went to the mall before Christmas, and then we went to Spencer's, and there's I don't have it in here with me, but it's a Rick beanie that you can put over your face, and it's got the Rick hair, and I look like Rick, and it's kind of creepy. And then finally, here's a side story. The Pop Funko like board games, whatever,
Hmm.
Funko Pops, whatever. I don't know. The board games that they have Golden Girls, they have Batman, they have the Harry Potter one, they have a Rick and Morty one. At the mall at the same time, I stopped in a GameStop, and they were selling these things for 50% off, and I bought the Rick and Morty one. It was the last one for 16 bucks. Then I went to a different store. I just happened to stop in a different store. I don't remember what it was. And it was selling normal price there for like $18. Like, oh, well, I still got it cheaper. And then I went to yet another store where they had it, and that store had it for $34. And I thought, yeah, you know what? I won. I did it. I did
I
it the
did
right
it.
way.
I won Christmas. I'm the Jesus Christ of Christmas, as Jerry would say.
Oh, and then finally, my mom also got me a Rick and Morty calendar for 2020.
Yeah, I need to hunt one of those down because my 2019 it literally fell off the wall. So yeah, that one is used up. But yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I surprisingly did not get any Rick and Morty stuff for Christmas. I think because I said specifically to my wife, "Yeah, you don't need to buy me any Rick and Morty stuff. I've got a ton of it." And she was pulling a fast one on me and buying me this sweet new chair that I podcast and D&D and game in my office. So she didn't have to buy me anything else because this chair is pretty awesome. So yeah,
It's a nice chair. It's a nice chair.
it's
Better than
there's no arguing. It's a nice
this
chair.
better than this dining room chair that squeaks every time I move. Um,
Absolutely.
well, anyway, Christmas is gone, Rickmas, whatever you want to call it. It's gone. Happy holidays to one and all. If you got an interesting Christmas gift, be sure to let us know, and we will envy you or judge you if it's not a great one. And I did get one more gift from my. Uh, if I don't think Omar's watching or listening, so I can say this. My best work friend Gary uh, it's it's this nice like uh, I don't know what kind of style art it would be considered, but it, it's kind of got like an old feudal Japan type art. Of Rick and Morty coming out of a portal, really awesome. He surprised me with that at the end after the holidays. So
What
hey,
a guy. What
thank
a
you.
guy.
I got him an In and Out shirt.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
It's
Pretty much
basically
the same.
the same thing. Okay. Well, anyway, that's Christmas. Last bit before we get into the main thing, and that is what we call the Dan Harmon Social Media Minute.
Social media. All right. So Dan Harmon, he's jack of all trades, master of some. He loves his Instagram page. He loves talking to people on Instagram, sharing his workouts. But recently, Dan has gotten very into some IRL Minecrafting, if you will. He is becoming obsessed with woodworking. He has turned his garage into a workshop, and over the past month or so has been building tables. He's been acquiring a lot of tools, and it is honestly very impressive. Some of the things that he is making with a relatively uh, small amount of history or experience doing woodworking. But there is a post about uh, Dan going to visit uh, the hardware store, and he it's Tool Station Project Part 1. It starts out with him driving in his car and showing off how he wrote his measurements on a piece of wood, a piece of plywood instead of a piece of paper, so that when he rolls into that lumber yard, they can know that he means business, and that he's not messing around. And then it features a guy named Adam who is helping cut the pieces of or I'm sorry, Austin. Austin is the individual who helped cut the pieces of wood so they'd be small enough to fit in Dan's Tesla so that he could take them home. But then he built this giant, like 6-foot storage cabinet for his tools, and everything's on casters so he can push it around his garage.
Wow.
But yeah, if you're into woodworking or just want to be fascinated by, you know, Dan Harmon trying out a new hobby, definitely check out Dan Harmon's Instagram where he's sharing all of his woodworking
Can't wait.
skills. It's great. It's great stuff.
um, when I was a kid, my dad would watch this old house or whatever with Bob Vila
Oh
and
yeah.
on on PBS. And I add that to the list of things that are so incredibly boring to me that I don't that I don't want to spend time watching or doing. But growing up, I'm like, you know what? I feel like I should know how to do some more of this stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to because I'll fall asleep.
Yeah, for me it's always the investment part of it where like whenever I do work around the house, I'm like, all right, what can I accomplish with one hammer and a screwdriver, like a ratcheting screwdriver with multiple bits?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
if I maybe a level, maybe. But yeah, like having to buy all the different like routers and table saw and clamps and get the clamps and all this stuff. Like I just yeah, I'm not bought in enough to, and I didn't just sign a contract for 70 episodes of a TV show, so I don't have the disposable income to start a woodworking hobby just out of the blue. So
Yeah.
anyway, that is semi-pertinent news. That is the social media minute with Dan Harmon, and it is now time for us to progress into what can only be described as the main thing.
Go, go, go. Ooh, ooh, the main thing. Ooh, go, 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 man. Thing. Uh, I don't know why I wasn't ready. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I wasn't ready for that. But um, I was accused of having a stroke by Trailer Hitch. Yeah. Anyway, the main thing today is, as we alluded to earlier, this is the first half of season 4, 5 episodes. We know that we're getting at least 5 more episodes to close out season 4. We don't know what day or week or month that'll be. March, April. Hopefully, it's not before summer sets, because that would be awful. But what that means is we have a bunch of content that we need to provide to you. But before we even get there, let's start with talking about the first 5 episodes of season 4 and what that means to us. um, I made a
Just
template.
say the same thing over and over again for the next hour, and then we'll be done. We'll be good.
Okay. I set up an automated kind of template for doing our show notes, and part of the automated template is it talks about the episode details. It talks about air date, written by and directed by. Travis filled out the template, and so we'll start the first 5 episodes of season 4. Air date: originally aired fall of 2019. Written by the writers, directed by the directors. Here's our and here's his bronopsis. Bruh, we got 5 new episodes in 2019, bruh. Can we get more than that in 2020?
Bruh. I should have
Bruh,
added a bruh.
you
Should
should.
have added a bruh. Yeah, I didn't think you were gonna read those, but I'm glad you did.
Content
Con-
is king.
Content is king. Yeah, so we wanted to take some time. It was a chaotic start to season 4. I took a vacation. We had holidays and work trips and all sorts of things that happened. We got those episodes out there, but this is an opportunity for us to take a step back, look at the first 5 episodes as a whole, maybe explore some of the topics that have extended outside of singular episodes, and just sort of, you know, get a sense for what we liked and maybe what we didn't like about the first half of season 4. So the first thing, as I started a rewatch of the 5 episodes over the last day or so, is I noticed this theme, especially in the first couple of episodes, maybe 2 or 3 episodes, of this idea of Rick sort of being like lonely, or not really having anybody that he could relate to. And I'm wondering, like, were you picking up on that? Is that something that you, because I don't feel like it stretches all the way through the 5 episodes, but it definitely seems to be something that they focused in on a lot over the first like 2 or 3.
Yeah. Well, episode 2, the old man in the seat. That is, I mean, that's all about his isolation. If you I think these are part of the free videos you can watch on adultswim.com. It's the inside the episode, and they're probably on YouTube too. But Dan Harmon talks specifically about this episode being about his isolation and inability to relate to others. And I might have been Royland too, who talks about his inability to accept friendship from what is a genuinely good person.
Right.
Um, and I mean that's a key example. It never gets more blatant than that throughout the episodes. But I mentioned it when we recapped all these episodes, that there's a sort of through line of friendship, of Rick's friendship in for the most part, most of the episodes. You talk about the dragon episode where he literally soul bonding, and then soul teasing the dragon at the end. Um, the heist episode, as kind of superficial as that episode is, his willingness to kind of use friends, and not really care about what happens to him. him abusing Professor Poopy Butthole, right?
Exactly.
He he basically like ruined this man's career, uh, just so he can get Morty to not write a screenplay. Um, so I don't know, he sabotages things. He's that.
Yeah, yeah. When you bring up those examples, it almost expands the idea to more about just the fact that Rick can't maintain healthy relationships, as opposed to specifically his like isolation or loneliness. And yeah, it's all five of these episodes. You could sort of bring out an example of how Rick either uses people to manipulate a situation, or uses people as expendable goods, a lot of the time. And I think we've almost gotten used to Rick treating Morty that way. And early on, from the beginning of the season, Beth and Jerry are like, no, Rick, you can't just expect Morty to go on these adventures with you. You have to ask, you have to make sure that his homework's done, or whatever. So you can't just use him for your adventures. And that's not easy for Rick to accept early on. But by like episode 4 or 5, it's just like, all right, let's go adventuring. And maybe it's after Morty has his heart broken with his Netflix pitch not going the way that he expected. But yeah, I don't know. He does. I don't know. It's a weird thing because I feel like at the beginning of season 4, they're really almost like forcing the issue with, oh, we're really going to dig into like some deeper emotional things with Rick, and he's going to be a shy pooper, but it really is a metaphor for how he's isolated and can't connect with people and all these things. And then like 3 episodes later, like everything's fine and it's a classic Rick and Morty adventure, and Beth and Jerry are fine, and it's Christmas, let's just do whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Do you like when they dig deeper into some of that stuff, or would you rather the show be sort of just superficial and just the characters sort of fill their roles?
I do like when they dig into that stuff, because it makes it 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 makes us commit to them as characters, and not just Kevin James, King of Queens. Like, yeah, okay, cool. Well, next episode, let's see what wacky hijinks they get into with no kind of growth or exploration of deeper things. Uh, I will say though that those kind of deeper episodes, they don't they don't hit me as hard, stick with me, I guess, immediately as some others do. Um, uh, what I'll take that back, just as an exception. Tales from the Citadel is the best episode of the series, and that got me right away. Um, but as far as other ones like the Unity episode, um, they're good, but they don't resonate with me immediately. It takes some time for me to digest them, and I don't know if it's something in me, and then that I need to go to therapy for, and then the willingness to accept those the sad things right away at face value, or what. But that is what it is. What about
You,
you?
you'd rather just laugh it off and ignore the
Yeah.
sadness.
Ha! Sadness. What is this?
Uh,
Fuck you.
I I think that those deeper episodes are, they're really, I think they're really great. And I think one of the things that the cast and crew have done a great job of is, while they're making an animated comedy, they seem to handle a lot of those topics really well, and really, once you get past the fart jokes and everything else, you can really explore some deeper topics. And I know like the chat right now, on YouTube and Twitch, they're talking about how depression can be really isolating, and how it can be hard when you've been through a lot to find really good friendships and connect with people on a real level. And we don't we still don't know exactly what happened with Rick and Beth's mom. We know there's a lot of darkness in his past, but people like Bird Person and Squanchy are gone now. Those are people he could kind of connect to through those hard times. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting to look at Rick as a person who doesn't know who to turn to, and he's got his family, but maybe he's not comfortable with everyone, especially because Jerry's such a loser.
Yeah, something I would have liked to have seen kind of stick from the first episode of the season, Edge of to Morty, when the very beginning of the episode, he's with his family. He doesn't really care about him. He's so aloof that he, you know, programs himself to give quality family time. Then he meets up with the wasps, and he sees that it's really not as bad as he's making it out to be. And again, like that whole um, it, sabotaging or burning things, you don't really see that again necessarily in these first 5 episodes, except maybe with Jerry, we see a little bit of leniency Jerry's way, um, which we talk about. I do want to talk about Jerry. We didn't have Jerry on here, but I found his stuff some of the more interesting vignettes of season 4 so far. Um, just mainly in the uh, with him floating away.
floating
Him,
floating around in the Terminator episode, the
yeah,
rattlesnake. Or,
Rattlestar Galactica,
yeah,
Rick Lactica, doing everything he can to do it his own way, even if it's a messed up, half-assed, incompetent way. He still survives the day on his own, and um, even, even Rick says in the middle of the episode, even I'm kind of rooting for him. Uh,
yeah, and it's interesting because when you flash back to that end of season 3, like Rick ready to just kill Jerry for getting in the way of his family. And there's a lot of sort of growth that happens over these 5 episodes to where Rick looks out for Jerry, whether Jerry likes it or not. He makes him, neutrally buoyant at the beginning of the episode. But by the end of that episode, he's like, I'm only going to heal your like 50%. The rest is on you, right? Like he doesn't return the fist bump, but it's at least it's a step. It's Rick saying, "All right, like we got to live together. It's a shame you're such an idiot, you're such a loser." But I don't know,
he's uh, essentially meeting him halfway.
yeah, exactly. Which I don't know, it's interesting. I felt like with all of season 3 being so focused on Beth and Jerry and their divorce or their separation, and how much that was sort of in the background or even in the forefront of so many episodes, I felt like Beth and Jerry's relationship so far in season 4 has been almost an afterthought. There's been a few moments after Gloody's app fails, and they sort of Beth ignores the fact that she matches with Ted Danson. Like she's there for Jerry, but for the most part, they've just all of a sudden been stable. And yeah, they have little issues, but it's almost like the healthiest their relationship has been since the show started. And on the one hand, I want to say like, all right, that's uncharacteristic, but also I understand from like a meta aspect, maybe that part of writing Beth and Jerry just got to be too like repetitive, and maybe they're looking for new ways to explore those characters and explore that relationship without having to constantly go back to how much they are the result of a teen pregnancy.
Yeah, like keep mining that
Yeah.
that vein. I think you're right. It allows for more subtle explorations of relationships if it's not the extreme will they won't they are they together, are they not together, and it's more interesting to explore the nuance of why is somebody with another person if they don't match with them on the surface level, and can you grow to love someone, or like uh, uh, the dating app says Jerry's not matched with anybody, and he knows this without even scanning himself earlier in the episode. He just knows inherently that he has no match,
Hmm.
uh, which that's sad, but also it's like acceptance on his part. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he goes and hangs out with a talking cat. So that's good old Jerry.
I'm telling you, he's eh, that interaction at the end with Jerry and Rick, with they're just like both on the same page with this cat, like this fucking cat, right? Uh, that's what does Rick say to him? It's a little condescending that I can't have fun and ask questions,
Yeah. Yeah.
right,
That's what he's
Jerry?
right. Yeah. Yeah. No. All right. So, what else? What else going on in these first 5 episodes? I know we got a couple movie references. We got, same old stuff. It's got some Terminators. Got some heist movies.
Right.
Got some loose D&D references. Not all the way. You know, Morty was just looking for some D&D type fun, not like all this soul bonding stuff. It's a little too much for him.
Just a little much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, talking about Claw and Hoarder, there's a line right towards the end of it where Rick excuses himself to go and pick up Jerry and his talking cat friend from the airport. But he says something to the effect of big season finale right there, you know. I'm so confused by that line because I wonder, and I know we've talked and hinted at this, that the first 3 or 4-ish episodes of season 4 were actually intended for the end of season 3, and that the production schedules, or for whatever reasons, they couldn't get them done, and so it made more sense to end the season 3 where it did, and then they rolled those episodes into season 4. But that line itself, like, is that just something they left in and forgot to take out? Like, I all the work that goes into this show, all the detail, I feel like that's not something you just overlook. But I don't know. It's so confusing to me, that line.
Yeah, I it could very well be. I'm not sure either way, but in that moment, I took that to be a he's just trying to do whatever he can, a meta moment of just trying to get out of the situation with a dragon. Be like, oh
Okay.
yeah, big finale, yeah, whatever. Um, I mean that's kind of how I took it, but that's the only way I
It's the only way you sleep at night, huh?
yeah.
Just blow it off.
The first 2 weeks after it aired, I'm like, oh, this is the finale, and I had to let it go. I just had to drop it.
Strap it. And especially when the next episode that comes in is such a strong episode with the whole Terminator vibe and everything. I don't know. It's a return to form, in my opinion. And I don't know. It seems like the closure with the dragon episode sort of closes one chapter and starts something anew in the next one. So speaking of favorites and what we thought of the episodes, we went so far as to rank our personal preferences on the first 5 episodes of season 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I am curious. We have not discussed our rankings with each other, so we'll be sharing these with each other as well as with you, the listening audience.
Yes.
So yeah, feel free to play along. Maybe pause this episode, rank your favorites, and then you can find out if you think more like me, more like Brandon, or like a complete separate person. Unity, I wouldn't blame you of anything else. But Brandon, let's start with number 5. Let's start with
Okay.
the bottom.
Let
Uh,
and I'm gonna put a little asterisk next to the ones that match for us.
oh, okay. Way to way to use, I don't know,
A
stuff.
pen
A
and
pen.
paper.
Okay. So number 5, I have Claw and Hoarder.
Okay.
That is my
I I, I was going to put an asterisk already because I felt that we were pretty on the same page with that.
totes confident.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and again, I in and we kind of beat up on this episode in our rewatch and in the episode dedicated to this, but I don't hate this episode anymore. I actually kind of like it, but in in terms of stacking up with the other 4, it still falls to number 5 for me.
Agreed. Agreed. I watched all 5 episodes today while I was exercising, as I told you
Doing
before.
planks, doing planks, and watching cartoons.
Um, and got to this episode, and I'm like, yeah, I don't hate this episode because they're. I will say that the Jerry stuff is more interesting to me than the dragon stuff on its face.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a clear kind of split from what the episode started off as being to what it ended up being. There's a line where it's like, oh, this went in a completely different direction.
yeah,
Um, and I don't think the Soul Bondy stuff is as cringy as it used to be, but
yeah.
that initial reaction is gone from
Okay.
from it all. Um,
What do you have for number 4?
for number 4, I have One Crew Over the Cuckoos, Morty.
Oh, this is where we diverge. Okay, I had the old man in the seat as my
I,
number 4 episode.
I knew you would. I knew you would. It got bonus points for heisting.
Yeah, we'll see how high it climbs. Yeah. So why? I mean, it was it. Do you just feel like it was not a strong episode? Is it your inherent hatred of heist movies that pushed it down? What? Why was this in the lower half?
I the this it's a good episode. I laugh at it still. There are funny parts to it. Uh, but but just like Claw and Hoarder, I feel like it ran off the rails at some point in time, and it started off as one thing, and then turned into uh, some of these episodes. Those 2 episodes specifically feel like they had gotten to a point, and then they didn't really know how to do it, and there's a lot of rework done with it to make it what it ended up being. And I don't
Yeah, yeah,
and
I
I don't
could
know
I
if
could
it
make
ended
sense.
up being great. Plus, Rick is just kind of. Okay, here's why I have an issue with this episode. Um, it is basically just a repeat of Lawnmower Dog. It's the same point. The whole point of the episode is the same, which is let's take down heist movies. Let's take down Inception. The whole point of the episode is incepting Morty with you don't want to do this, and it's your original thought. That's
Yeah, yeah.
that's the conceit of the episode. And I thought it was a rehash essentially.
Ah, okay, that's fair. I think directorially, I really like that the way the episode is put together, how certain scenes are constructed, the way they used the different frames to show multiple angles of a shot or multiple versions of a situation, all of the double crosses and things. I think they nailed the heist genre, even if it was uh, their attempt to kill it. I think they did a good job with it. So
Shout out to Brian Jordan Newton for directing that one.
friend of the show. All right, well that brings us to our number 3 episodes. Curious if we meet in the middle. My number 3 is Edge of Tomorty.
Oh no, that's not my number. My number 3 is Old Man in the Seat.
Okay.
Uh, what? Why is in your opinion, is Edge of Tomorty number 3?
So, look, I feel like while this is a strong episode, and it started the season out strong, sort of the way that you had issues with some of these other episodes about how they ended. It felt like it was moving in one direction and then kind of fell off the rails. That's sort of the way I feel about the last act of Edge of Tomorty, where he's in his, giant like tower, just like, this is my life now. And then all of a sudden we've got hologram Rick becoming real, and then Wasp Rick having to kill, like, it just, I don't know, all these things kind of coming together. It just, I don't know, that it's visually very, very cool scene, but I don't know, it kind of got a little out of control for me. And otherwise, I think the premise is good. I think there's a lot of great stuff in this episode. I liked the other ones more.
I gotcha. I obviously had I think we're swapped because I would Edge of to Morty is my number 2.
Yep.
And Old Man in the Seat is your number 2. I'm assuming.
No, Old Man in the Sea was my number 4.
Oh, that's right. Oh, what
Yeah.
what was your number 2 then?
That was One Crew over the Cuckoo's Morty.
Oh,
and so we have a 2-4 like swap, I think, or something. I don't know. Something's going on here. But the heist levels, we've talked about it countless times in our various podcasts. Sucker for the heist movies. So that, I think that pushed it up higher, and especially like the 1, 2, 3 for me. I think these are all great episodes. So it was just sort of a matter of like just personal taste.
Yeah. No, I get it. You talk about Edge of Tomorty. I will agree with the assessment that the end seemed like they threw the concepts throughout the episode, just slapped them all together at one time to finish it up and resolve them all really quickly. I remember watching that with you and feeling like, that's wait, how did it end? I lost it somewhere.
Yeah.
Everything leading up to that, though, the meta commentary on classic Rick and Morty adventures with with Fascist Morty,
Fascist Morty. Yeah.
all that stuff, bringing the Meeseeks back in a way that made sense.
Yeah.
Making fun of us fans for wanting Meeseeks back. I felt that that in the other one of the other ones that I haven't named yet, felt the most Rick and Morty to me.
Yeah.
And therefore that's why it was my number 2.
Okay. Good. Yeah, the Old Man in the Seat dropping low for me. I don't know. I feel like the Gluty premise, like the app thing, yeah, it works. Rick exploring his chai pooping, like, it works. I don't know, if I did this again, maybe it'd be my number 3, but I don't know. It fell into dropping down lower than maybe it deserved, like a deuce in a beautiful toilet. But finally, we meet again at the top of our lists with number 1, Rattlestar Rick Lactica. Easily, I think, in both of our opinions, the strongest episode of this first half of season 4.
I would say wholeheartedly. Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. I know some folks out there, like, they said they weren't going to do time travel, and they did time travel. They just sold the shit out. And I can see that. And we even might have talked about it here on the podcast before, but like, if they do that, I don't know if I'll like it, right?
Right.
Um, but they did it in such a way where, like, look, time travel's stupid, and it's not sustainable. Uh, it's a self-eating snake. We gotta move away from it. But they did it in such uh, a naturally progressing, escalating way that by the end of the episode, it also came down in a fairly natural, uh, realistic as much as it can be for the show way, where I didn't feel like at the end, like, oh, well, it's over like that. It made sense that it was over like that. um and it felt like a Lawnmower Dog or Anatomy Park. It had
Yeah.
that kind of absurdity, a classic Rick and Morty adventure.
Absolutely. And I think for them to ever be able to tackle any elements of Terminator, you have to introduce an aspect of time travel. And so I feel like this was their one time of just being like, all right, knock the time travel box over, get the stuff off the shelf, and let's just attack all of it. Let's do a little bit of Back to the Future, a little bit of,
Yeah,
just anything goes. But for me, the thing that really pushes this episode over the top is the details. It's the little things that you don't notice on the first or second watch, but maybe the third or fourth. The fact that we can have 2 to 3 full minutes with no actual dialogue and just snakes hissing and going through their entire storyline. I don't know. It plays so well for me. It There's so many levels to it, and I just really like that episode.
yes, yeah. You talk about details. We talked about it when we reviewed the episode. Just so much extra stuff on Snake Planet. This rewatch, I noticed the the columns outside the Pentagon, Snake Pentagon. The columns were twisty. The snake
Yep.
twisted. Just little stuff like that. Um, Man, you're absolutely right. Nothing that I can say is different from what you said. It just it hit all the right notes, and it's the episode that I keep telling people. Yeah, that that's my favorite episode of season 5 or season
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Go watch it. Go watch
Go
it. My
watch it.
boss, Philip Marks, in the chat mentioned there's literally everything in space. My boss came up to me today and was like, well, hey, you got stuff on your desk. There's literally everything in space. And then he stared at me, and I forgot that quote. And I'm like, this is
He
a
was
Rick and Morty.
testing you, Brandon.
This is a Rick and Morty reference, right? I think he's like, snakes. Like, ah.
I don't know. I'm not prepared for this.
And then I just started doing snake jazz, and then he joined in, and that was good.
Flawless recovery. Always can roll back to Snake Jazz.
That's right.
All right, so those are our rankings of our top 5 of season 4. If you want to rank the episodes yourself, shoot us a Twitter message. Let us know on Twitter what your top 5 are, and we'll see if you're more of a Brandon, more of a Travis, or
Yeah.
more of a Unity.
I will point this out. Scary Terry Folds out in the chat mentioned his number 1, episode 2, number 2, episode 1, number 3, episode 5, episode 4, episode 3, and 5, episode 4. Claw and Hoarder. Well, we all got that asterisk.
There we
So
go. There we go. We all line up on that one. Uh,
one
You ready for some suggestions and short outs? You ready to turn it over to Unity to close this out?
Yeah, well, one thing I wanted to do, just to kind of close out the fact that there's so many folks out there that like talk about Rick and Morty when the season is up. I went to each one of the discussion threads, the post discussion threads, found the top comment on each one of them, and decided let's give them each a little shout out. So I will start with episode 1 by user J Dolan 98, who says the slight pause from fascist shrimp Rick was hilarious. That pause was mentioned here in the chat, as a matter of fact. Uh, well, at least you aren't fascist. Huh?
And then he kind of like looks over at the
Yeah,
garage wall. Yeah, for all the fascist, or no, I don't think it even shows fascist memorabilia. It just immediately
he's right
cuts
there.
to Rick running down the streets of fascist shrimp world. Yeah. The next one for episode 2 is what is that? Ethereal.
Ethereal, yeah.
He's becoming more and more Rick. I don't think the lack of chill he had was there by accident. This is in reference to. Is this in reference to Morty?
Oh, yeah, I think it is in what was episode 2 again?
Episode 2 was
That
the old man in the seat, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's when he's telling Jerry, this I started this morning by being disgusted by you, whatever, blah blah blah, and now I think you're a loser.
And then he just walks off with
Yeah,
no redeeming value.
quit fucking up and let's get out of here.
Yeah.
um, episode 3 by Adam Ran. He or she writes, Royland and Harmon when hearing people complain about the show. Your boos mean nothing to me. I've seen what makes you cheer.
I will say that line has been used in some great memes since the episode was released. I saw it posted in response to the Golden Globes opening monologue by Ricky Gervais. So yeah, I can see that. That was absolutely one of my favorite lines of the episode as well.
Absolutely. NY Chomi, I would say that's probably New York City homie. Uh, what the fuck did that What the fuck did that cat do? Rick has explored infinite universes and has just about seen it all. But whatever was in that cat's head made him almost commit suicide. So whatever it is, it must be profoundly horrible. But someone has to remember. So he rids Jerry of the pain. Jesus fucking Christ, that was dark. So
Yeah,
so so dark, so true,
so dark.
so true.
Yeah, it is one of those things where, like, do you think the writers actually wrote something for what the cat did, or were they like, all right, he did something horrific, and we're just gonna have the response be over the top from the two of them?
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna see any more cat. That's all.
No,
That's all.
I know. Yeah, the cat's one and done.
They
You
they
can't
can't
you
they can't
can't get Broderick on every episode.
afford Broderick again. They can't do it. And finally, Durs the rower. Oh, is he is like a college rower? I don't know. Let's find out. That kill Hitler scene would probably be the natural end result of time travel being invented. Not gonna lie.
I appreciate the honesty, Durs the rower. Yeah, I, 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 I think that is possible. The first two things the snakes from Snake MIT do is stop the Snake Lincoln assassination and then go and try to kill Snake Hitler. It's it's the yin and the yang of time travel. And yeah, everybody trying to like stop history, and I don't know, all the snake bodies stacking up. It just gets out of hand.
Let the snake bodies hit the floor. Snake bodies hit the floor. um,
All right. Thank you, Reddit people that may or may not ever listen to this episode for your contributions and for your short outs. I do want to give a short out. We talked about Rickmas presents. You posted a tweet over on the Twitters around, I don't know, December 25th or so, and we had some folks share their presents, their Rick and Morty themed gifts. We had Ryan, I believe in you, and you do too, who shared quite a bit of gifts from that they got some T-shirts. They got the Total Recall game, as well as that's all Rick and Morty. I think that's all Total Recall stuff. So yeah, the game that I have and still have not actually played.
That's right.
Gary Zandy sharing their Pickle Rick Santa ornament. I have my Columbus ornament on the tree. And then Mike Rasta sharing his Christmas sweater with Pickle Rick on it, with his hands up saying boom. And he also has his hands up very, very, very well posed there, Mike. Thank you to you guys who responded on Twitter. Finally, over in email. This email comes from signed from Unity, but your name is also on your email account. So Elaine, who is a listener of the podcast, shared with us. I'm gonna pull up the email here real quick.
Yeah, do it.
A few comments about the season, but also I really wanted to point out a YouTube video of an Evil Morty rap. I don't know if you had heard this already, Brandon, but this is from a user on YouTube, None Like Joshua, who's doing just fine in the subscribers category. But they have a rap. It's entitled "The Evil Morty Rap." I'll try to get a link for it in the show notes. But it's pretty good tune. I don't know if you listen to it, but it's solid stuff. And appreciate Elaine hanging out and sending us some emails, letting us know your thoughts on fan content, and that you're only on episode 69. So
you're right there. You're basically right.
You got to be done by now. You got to be caught up.
And the good news is you have plenty of time before the rest of season 4 starts.
Hopefully not too much. All right, cool. Thank you to everybody in Twitch and YouTube hanging out and watching the stream. Awesome having you guys here. D Squeeze holding it down. Philip Marks, Scary Terry Folds, Trailer Hitch, saw you for a little bit. Sure there were others. Sorry if I did not call you out by name. But make sure you stick around if you're watching. We will have a bit of a post-show hangout and reminisce about all the things that we missed over the last month or so. And that is it for yet another episode of Interdimensional RSS. Thank you to everyone for subscribing. If you're new to the podcast, make sure to subscribe so that you get new episodes every time we release one. Because sometimes the release schedule is a little wonky. It just is. It happens. But if you are also a new listener and have not yet reviewed the podcast, we would love if you would take the time to do that. Head over to Apple Podcasts, leave your review. Let us know what you think of the show. Maybe leave your rank of the first 5 episodes of season 4 right there in the review, so that we can read that and share your review with listeners on the next episode. All right, that's it. Brandon, final thoughts.
Thank you for bearing with us, in the creators of the show, all the fine artists, writers, voice folks, Ryan Elder, everybody who works on the show. We know it takes a long time for them to put it together. Contracts and animation isn't a quick art, and if you ever listen to any of the after podcasts or work with the artists, they all say just how much extra goes into Rick and Morty compared to a traditional animated show, which means that it takes longer to push out content. So even though we would love to have it all sooner, we are just happy to be in this wait with you, the fellow fans. Unity.
Unity. All right, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the post show, or if you're listening, go check out YouTube and just like scrub to the end, scrub to like an hour and 10 minutes, and then see what we do in the post show. All
Okay.
right, that's it. Until next time, I'm Travis.
And I am Brandon.
We'll see you later.
Toodaloo!
Get that music out of here. Jeez, Philip. High praise with the Love of the Squanch podcast, but saying we're number one. You're number one. You're number one, Phil. Also,
we were almost on the Squanch podcast.
yeah,
but,
almost.
But our timing didn't really align.
I was on a plane or something, or what was going on?
No, they record at like 7 o'clock Monday morning, and we don't have jobs that we are allowed to. Just
we got those day jobs, where we
Yeah.
have to record at night. That's
like the Squanch guys. Their job is to make content for the Squanch, and therefore they have a little bit more leeway when they can record and do stuff.
Hashtag the dream. Scary Terry Folds over in the chat saying that the comics are coming to a close until further notice. Brandon, were you aware of this? That feels very semi-pertinent.
Well, I didn't know that they were coming to a close altogether. Well, I tweeted out shit. Scary can tell me. So one of the artists. I'll just put up right here. Yeah, Mark Ellerby. Right. He said 5 years and 674 pages later, I've just finished drawing my final Rick and Morty comic page. I saw that tweet. I didn't know that meant the comics were.
Yeah, I read that as maybe it being his last, work with the comics. But I don't know for sure either way. So that's unfortunate if it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, issue 60 is their last issue, says STF.
If you have any like word on why they said they were doing it, maybe like lack of sales or what have you. I know that I think they just finished up with the D&D versus Rick and Morty 2.
Yeah.
The last issue of that. Maybe they'll keep going with that with an issue 3. I don't know if I need an issue a third volume of that.
Yeah. But, I'm curious if Ellerby's credited in this this D&D set actually. Illustrators.
Yeah.
Looks like he's not. Look like he's not in here.
Ellerby wants to take a break. Yeah, I understand that that desire to do that, especially if you're a writer and you're doing one thing over and over again. Because I would love to write. I would love to be a writer and sit down and come up with ideas and flesh it out. For me, I can't maybe comprehend or understand how I would ever be able to get more than like one original idea out of my head at a time, and then to do so many issues or so many episodes of one type of thing, it gets stale. We talk about Twilight Zone and Rod Serling and how he wrote, I forget the exact number, but like 97 episodes of the show out of 156. There are repeating themes in there and repeating lines of dialogue and characterizations that you need other viewpoints, I guess, in So yeah, I understand Mark's want to move on.
Yeah. And hopefully, I mean, unless it is like a sales decision or they're just not getting the audience that they want, like hopefully they'll find the right people to continue on or try, and get fresh voices and fresh artwork in there too, and
Yeah,
keep doing something fun.
yeah,
Uh,
something fun.
something fun. Big thanks to everybody that hung out throughout all of this. There was a lot of conversation happening throughout the episode that unfortunately, as we get into the flow of doing the podcast part of it and making sure that the podcast is great for the audio only listeners, those people.
Mm.
I know we missed a lot of comments, but it's fun to see you guys, having a dialogue and continuing to talk. And Brandon's pretty good about ignoring me and keeping up with the chat as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, he does good with that.
on the audio portion, you can't tell that I'm not paying attention to what Travis is saying. But if you're watching on video, you can tell when Travis is talking, and I'm like, oh, going to respond to
Oh,
something. No.
yeah, and when I like add sentences to what I'm saying, so that I can give Brandon some sort of a tag for how to get back in the conversation. Yeah,
Uh,
that's what a partnership's all about. All right,
that's
that's
that's what
that's
marriage
what the
is.
pros do. What else is going on? Yeah, shout out stuff in the or if there's something that came up earlier in the conversation that we missed, let us know again so that we can address it now.
Oh,
Surprising how well you can respond without hearing the full question. Yeah, again, this we do have show notes. We do have an outline of where we're going with the topic, and most of the time it's just him making up BS anyway. So he does great with it.
yeah, it's true. I don't have any original thoughts. I just have just a list of notes from everything else I've read elsewhere. Oh, that thing's falling off my wall. Um, and I have actually what you don't see is I have like little yellow post-it notes here with talking points, just based off of things Travis might say. And we have a really complicated code that we've worked out, which I don't want to give away, but a certain sequence of words with a certain sequence of pauses, kind of like Morse code, but we call it Travis code, uh, allows me to respond in kind. It just
Yeah, he can tune right back in after he's done sorting his Amazon wish list, and then he just hops right back into the family conversation.
oh
Yeah,
boy,
yeah,
so
good stuff.
good, so good. Um, but for real, I don't know what you say most of the time.
Okay. Uh, what are you guys watching when you're not watching Rick and Morty? That's because I've been watching a ton of stuff, and this is more of an AE sort of topic. But man,
It-
I got so much stuff to talk about when we get into another apathetic enthusiasm. I've been ingesting that content
oh my god.
by the spoonful, not
Been
just playing old GTA games over and over again.
um, yeah. What have you guys been watching? I finally started watching Living with Yourself. I finally started watching that.
Living
Uh,
with yourself, I haven't heard of that.
that's the Paul Rudd Netflix show, which is
Okay.
basically rest and relaxation. Um,
Okay.
which it goes in a different direction than rest and relaxation, but it kind of starts similarly with a clone of Paul Rudd at a bathhouse.
All right. What are we talking? 10 eps? 8, 10? Hour
I
long? Half hours?
half hour. I think it's 8 to 10 episodes, something like that.
All right. All right.
Um, I also watched Midsommar.
That spooky movie. The
It's yeah,
I don't know. It was billed as like a suspense horror type.
yeah, directed by Ari Aster, I think, who also directed what the one with which Hereditary. Um, I like Midsommar a lot. I don't know if you've ever seen The Wicker Man, the original '76 version,
Mm.
with or the one with Nicolas Cage, with the remake with like the bees,
Bees.
they're in my eyes, they're
Yeah.
everywhere. Oscar worthy performance where he's in a bear costume and he punches a chick. Uh, yeah, so great. Midsommar feels very Wicker Man, like a modern Wicker Man esque movie. A lot of people were confused by it, and they're like, "Oh, this is trippy. Oh, I don't get the ending." And it just maybe I've seen too many movies in my years, but I'm like, I don't know what you didn't get. Felt fairly straightforward, you
All
know,
right.
kind of like Sixth Sense. Very, very straightforward.
You predicted the ending of Sixth Sense. Is that something that happened?
Well, yeah, he's a superhero. Duh.
Yeah, everybody knew it. He was a superhero the whole time.
That's right.
Uh, yeah, I'll need to check out that Paul Rudd show. I've been watching. I'm halfway through The Witcher right now. It's pretty good. I'm finally starting to figure out like which timeline is where, because it's all sort of mixed up there at the beginning. That's not really a spoiler. I watched The Morning Show, which is an Apple TV Plus show that basically is ripped right from the headlines with what happened to Matt Lauer on the Today Show.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's literally about a network morning show that the one of the main anchors is uh, kicked off for sexual misconduct, and then Reese Witherspoon gets ripped from a reporting gig into that. It's just really it's really well produced. I've heard like a lot of the Apple TV Plus shows are not well done,
Hmm.
but I thought this was pretty good. Fancy Apple TV Plus. That's right. Yeah, buy into the Apple stuff. That's me.
That's
Uh,
you. That's our Travis.
does that say pube cakes and blood juice? I don't
Oh,
know.
uh, D squeeze. Oh man, it's so good. He's talking about Midsommar.
Okay. All right.
It's a
Sounds
I
good.
I liked
Sounds good.
I liked it a lot, but it wasn't it wasn't a horror movie until maybe the last quarter of it.
Okay.
But it's a very disconcerting, discombobulating feeling movie.
Yeah.
In that maybe that's what.
Keeps you uneasy, kind of
Yeah,
like throughout. Yeah.
exactly. It's uh it feels isolating. That's how the movie makes you feel,
Yeah.
and that's a big part of the main protagonist's resolution.
Okay. All right. A lot of love for some HBO shows, but I done canceled that. I canceled my HBO subscription. I feel like I need to take like a month and renew HBO and then just binge watch like a ton of these shows. I need to watch Watchmen. I need to check out what is it?
Oh yeah,
The Dark Materials or whatever.
yeah.
Uh, and probably a couple.
I've heard good things about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, probably probably do that just on again, off again with HBO. Yeah, definitely watched all of Mandalorian. We talked about that on the unreleased episode of Apathetic Enthusiasm. For those of you keeping track at home, you can check out the video version on YouTube. It should still be up. Yeah, and toss a coin to your Twitcher. Yeah, toss a coin to this Twitcher. Am I right, guys?
Are we right? Are we,
Am I right? You're already working on the episode, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, I'm putting together show notes. I'm
I should
trying.
probably render my audio. That would be nice.
Oh yeah, yeah, you should.
Guys, I didn't render my audio.
It's pretty late here in the LBC.
Oh, I forgot we started late.
I'm trying to get Do double G. What?
With your mind on your money and your money on the stream.
I've been playing a shitload of Grand Theft Auto lately. I don't know if I told you that.
You told me that you didn't speak
And
to it on the stream though.
I didn't. You're
Why
right.
aren't you? Are you playing on like Xbox? Is that what you're doing?
I am playing on Xbox.
Is that game cross platform yet?
No, no. Otherwise, Omar, who is in the chat now, uh, I would probably be playing with his son
Oh, okay.
because he's on PS4. CES just happened last week. Speaking
Yeah,
of
it did.
video games, um, PS4 specs are out. It's
PS5.
PS5. Sorry,
Yeah.
thank you for the
You're
editor.
welcome.
But he is no, he is PS5. The thing that was interesting to me about the PS5 was you're not going to be able to play it without a 4K TV. You need a 4K TV in order to play it or something like that.
Wow. Although I will say 4K TVs you can get for like I'm not gonna say dirt cheap.
Don't give me that shit. That's what Omar is trying to sell me.
I'm with you, Omar. I was in Target last week and I was like, wow, these TVs are like this TV is $500. It's like a 55. It was like a 60-inch 4K TV. I was like, that's half of what I paid for my like 50-inch 1080 TV like 5 years ago. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The kids these days.
I said that's
they got no idea.
that I need a 4K TV to play that. And he's like, you get one for like $200 at Walmart or whatever it was. I'm like, no, I don't want to buy a new TV. I already have TVs. I want to use the TVs I have to play game systems. I guess
Or
not get
you could ascend and stop buying consoles every couple of years and just get another gaming computer. Brandon.
I have a gaming computer. I just need a new hard drive. Travis.
Well, why don't you get on that so we can play games again?
I can play League of Legends on this MacBook.
No comment. We'll play some Dota Underlords later.
Oh yeah.
Not tonight, but later.
No.
As in later in life.
Yeah, I'm pretty far behind on the meta.
Oh, there's files. Everybody wanted to see the files of all of our audio. There you go.
Omar, I got rid of my CRT finally. It was really heavy. I actually had a DVD CRT, like a 20-inch or something, in my garage for the longest time, and I put it out at the street so I could just the trash people could take it away. And my neighbor came up to me, knocked on the door, like, "Hey, what are you doing with that TV?" Like, I'm throwing it away. Like, can I have it? Like, yeah, it's by the trash. Go for it. He's like, does it work? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I've got old DVDs I need to test out. Like, you know, a DVD player? Oh, okay, yeah, sure, take it. I don't know if he threw it away or what, but yeah, he took it. He took it all right.
Took it to the limit. Uh, anybody following this college football thing?
Who did Clemson win?
So it looks like we're in the third quarter. Third quarter for those of you keeping score at home. LSU up 35-25.
Ooh,
with just under 3 minutes left in the third. Yeah. Ooh, and it looks like LSU almost had another touchdown. Well, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I want a 4K from our dentist. Omar, I think, literally bought the TV that I saw at Target, and Terry Folds with the 40-inch 4K for under $200. Brandon, if you got the money to buy a PS5, just throw a couple hundos at your new 4K TV.
I guess I could.
I don't know. I could own a PlayStation. I would. Are you taking a picture of me? What is this? Is this for?
Yeah, I'm I don't know if you can see. That's my 32-inch mounted on the wall.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
then
Oh.
Caesar from Planet of the Apes
Oh. We're
series.
we're doing that. Okay. Here's for the podcast fam.
I guess
There's
I guess I could have just turned this webcam around.
there's my TV mounted on the wall with all of your chats and audio stuff and an Overwatch background back there.
Oh,
Oh, studio tours.
also a poster for the Crazies, the remake with Timothy Oliphant. Uh,
What a
R2D2
random
Jigsaw puzzle.
poster to have.
Yeah, my Rogue One poster.
Still one of the best Star Wars movies.
Yeah,
And then your face.
I'd say so. And then my sweaty face.
PS5. Yeah, I've never owned a PlayStation in any of its forms.
Really?
Yeah.
No iteration of PlayStation.
Not a one. Kept bouncing between Nintendo and Xbox. And then, have the Xbox One. I think I've got two of those. And one of them gets occasional use, and now I game on my computer if I game at all. So, getting so old,
Yeah.
But I might re-download Witcher 3 after watching the show for a little bit.
Yeah, I have that on my PlayStation. Oh, talk about PlayStation 4. For those listening, have a PSVR.
Yeah, you do.
And I don't have virtual reality yet, which I feel like maybe I'm slacking on that.
Did you try picking up Rec Room yet?
No. Good call on reminding me about that. I have not picked up Rec Room yet.
Because that one was, I think it was free when I got it for PC. So I don't know if they're charging money on PlayStation, but that is definitely something we could hang out and play some virtual disc golf.
Oh, that's on there?
It's on there, dude. We should be doing that right now. Cut the stream. Let's go play disc golf.
Let me go get it. Yeah, I like VR. It's fun. I'm glad I got it for the kiddo, obviously.
Yeah, for the kid.
He has a lot of fun with it. It shows up on the screen when he's playing it, so you can kind of see what he's doing.
Yeah.
That I'm like, okay.
Oh, does that trigger you big time?
Like, stop watching what he's doing, because it's like, whoa. Got a game called Dino Rancher or something like that. It's pretty cool. Or Dino Frontier. You're like, you basically it's almost kind of like a real time strategy game, a little bit more, maybe more of a Sim City, where you're like in the frontier. You raise people up, you tame dinosaurs, you build like a settlement and all that type of stuff. Really, really cool.
Yeah, I've sort of been out of the VR game for a little while. I know there's a lot of new stuff that people are putting out there, but I was hiding Christmas presents in my office for like a month, and my play space was jeopardized. So, yeah, I need to fire it back up and try some things out. Yeah, we should set some time to play some Rec Room.
Yeah,
because that's fun. It's just VR silliness.
What about that? Yeah. What about that Star Trek one?
Star Trek Bridge Crew. That could be fun. We should get some like listeners or just fellow friends that have VR, and so we can get like an actual crew of 4 people that we at least know a little bit.
Right.
Bridge Crew can be fun. You assume different roles on the Star Trek bridge. You got like a commander, a pilot, an engineer, and I think a gunner or something. And a lot of it's like just making sure you keep your panel like up the way that you need to, but everybody has different stuff that they're responsible for. So you have to, yeah, you
Huh.
have to work as a team. But
Oh
what ends
boy,
up happening is
not
you
do that.
jump in a random game and like somebody's got their VR set in their living room and their wife is like making dinner in the next room and their kids are screaming. So like the person is talking with three voices and one of them's yelling from the other room like, "Do you want brown rice or white rice?"
I said, "Where's the Cheetos?"
Yeah. Um, so yeah, it's or at least that was my one experience with it. Accounting Plus, D Squeeze, absolutely. Accounting is a great game, or a great at least VR sort of thing, from the sort of predecessor of Trover Saves the Universe, Crows, and Justin Roiland collabed on that one. Adios, Scary Terry Folds. Have a great night. Thank you so much for hanging out. Bar fight sim. That 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 sounds like it. I don't know what the replay value is on that, but might be good. Yeah, we
Yeah.
should just play some VR Catan. I have board the what is it, tabletop simulator. We
Uh-huh.
just
Yeah.
we just
Is
go
that is that
ham
is
on
that
that.
is that VR?
Tabletop simulator is compatible with VR, yeah. So
I just don't think there's it's not cross
it may
compatible.
not be cross platform. I don't know. I don't even know if it's on PlayStation.
I haven't looked very hard, but I wonder if there's a way to use the PSVR and mod it to be on the PC.
No, I bet there's a video somewhere about that.
I'm sure there is. Okay. I need to edit this episode, and I need my audio to do
And
it.
so you need me to stop talking to you.
Uh,
And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is gonna close out our evening because Brandon needs to edit and get some shut eye. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thanks for, uh, you know, following along, sharing your comments.
do it.
We have a D&D session scheduled for this Friday night. So if you are not caught up on our adventures in the desert of Arayu, you can do that on YouTube. You can catch all of the previous episodes over there. And Brandon gives a pretty good summary of where we're at the start of new episodes anyway.
Thank you.
So you can hang out with us Friday night for some of that, or catch us hopefully next week for an apathetic enthusiasm, where we'll basically have the conversation we just had, but with like bullet points and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out, and yeah, let's let Brandon edit.
Yeah. Bye, Rachel. Bye. Bye, one and all. We love you. And now I'm going to rush through it before I can sleep.